All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Apostate Weekly. I'm your host, James.
And I am Ryan.
And we've got some stories for you this morning concerning Russia and some new policies they're implementing about religion in their country, as well as an interesting story about Serena Williams.
I can't wait to hear that one.
So
Ugh.
let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah.
All right. So we are back live in studio this morning, as we are every week. And good morning to ex-witness awake Jonathan and Joe and Fran and Mom and Dad and Sam and Steve. Hope you're all having a good day so far. I'm kind of like flipping back my schedule this week because I'm off for the rest of the week. So I'm not just coming off of working night shift tonight. So I'm kind of in like a weird place of sleep and being awake.
I don't like that. I hated having to do that when I used to work nights. Never fun for me. Don't miss it.
Nope. But anyways, shall we get into what's going on in the news
Jump
this
right
week?
in.
Yeah.
Jump right in. Why don't we?
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and wrong button. Start off with this story here about what Russia's doing. And they are tightening restrictions on churches over there. And it says here that Vladimir Putin signed an amendment to the country's religious law, initiating significant changes. And I only just heard about this. I know the article says it was from 2021, but I still think this has it's a big impact even for over there. You know?
And I don't know about everything happening at all times, so it's good just to have a refresher.
And one of the biggest changes, I guess, from this law is that all missionaries and religious teachers will be required to have what they call additional professional education in the fields of the basics of state confessional relations in the Russian Federation. And they're also going to have other changes, which are going to include forbidding groups or NGOs from using any religious identities in their names unless permitted by the local government and approved by the centralized religious organization. And so really it just seems like they are tightening the religious rules on the country.
Yeah.
And, this really plays into them having a single state religion in their country. And, we're in America, we're fighting that right now because we could we're seeing the push for Christianity being a single state religion by, certain political parties. Yeah. And the Russian Federation is setting the example of what it's going to be like if it becomes that way. And I'm sure even the most right-wing people don't even want it that way. So, I really urge anybody who is religious, not saying not to practice your religion, you could still have your freedom of it, but consider the implications of it for everybody, including yourself. If it's a religion that comes in and takes over that you don't necessarily agree with, or a version of it you don't agree with. So, no more so would the Jehovah's Witnesses want the country to be run by Catholics, even though they're in the same type of Christian definition of religion. So, these are things to think about, when you're going out and voting and looking into the politics. Don't be like Russia.
Yeah.
They're setting a
As
bad
much as
example.
as much as this country claims to hate that country, we do an awful lot of things just like them.
Yeah.
It's just on a different scale. We have zealots in this country who are trying to enact like a theocratic nationalist fascist kind of government. And to them it sounds great until it's against you. And then it's
Yeah.
not so great. You can wield power with it, but there's a possibility that power could come right back down on you. They don't think of that consequences. But anyhow, I think this is always good information to
It
disperse.
It is, and I mean, not everybody in Russia either is gonna be of the same religion. As we know, there
Oh,
are witnesses over there that
it's
have been
hard. Yeah,
persecuted. There's other religions over there. There's atheists over there, so there's all types of people there, and they're all having to bear the consequences and deal with it from what Putin's putting into act here. So
yeah.
again, I urge everybody to, make sure when you're voting, keep those things in mind and look up who you're voting for and really do your homework and,
It
let
does take work.
let's keep our
Uh,
freedoms in this country rather than letting them slip through our fingers and get away.
yeah, I'm kind of terrified just watching what is going on. But anyway, I digress. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's actually it kind of almost ties in to some of what I want to talk about next. So, I'm not sure if you all watched my recent video, and I'm just putting all the pieces together. So, excuse me if I'm a little late to the table, but I just realized exactly what Zionism is and how it's tied in to the Jehovah's Witnesses from C.T. Russell and Rutherford. Are y'all aware of this? Probably. Anyway, so I decided I wanted to do some deep dives for myself. I did watch a few videos of other people, like Christy's done some videos that's touched on the subject, and Watchtower History as well. Joe and Fran put a link, and I watched part of that video, which I'd need to watch the whole thing. It's very informative. So if you yourself want to do a deep dive on C.T. Russell and the beginnings of Jehovah's Witnesses, the information is out there. But I just wanted to, for myself, read this book that he wrote, which is called C.T. Russell wrote Jewish Hopes. Um,
I think look at
Now,
the phrase that's saying you're trying to start a new religion here, Ryanism.
right. Oh my God, why do I love it? Oh
Well,
my God, I
just
love that so much. Ryanism.
just think though, your YouTube channel is already called Ryan Cult-tastic. I
Maybe
mean,
I should
I
just
think he's just
change it
putting the
to
pieces
Ryanism.
together.
No, but seriously, I've always been like feeling like I need to search for the right name for my channel. What if Ryanism? I wrote that down. I'm gonna chew on
Ryanism. I
that.
love that. I
That
love
was
that.
epic. Thanks so much. That's so funny. So I read this book over the past 2 days. It's really not that long. I forget how many pages, maybe 100 and something. Anyway, boy, I tell you what, this book was filled with so many anti-Semitic tropes and stereotypes. Brian Eddix.
Yeah, we're getting some good ones this morning. Ryan,
Oh my fucking God, Ryan Enix. I'm dying. This is like the best day ever. Y'all don't know. I'm gonna start stealing these names. That's pretty funny. So sorry, y'all. Serious subject. But that's funny. No, it's good. It's good to keep it light because this stuff is like just so sick and serious, right? So what was CT Russell's plan? Well, now I'm kind of realizing how he was trying to make all of this come to fruition. So, have you ever heard of replacement theology or supersessionism? James?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So basically, we are the new Jews
Right.
of as such, right? We're the chosen people now. So that's kind of what the whole eschatology. So the what the timeline's going to look like for Armageddon. So our eschatology, how Russell has it planned out, is that the Jewish people had to reject Jesus. That was all part of the plan. They had to reject Jesus so that way we could supersede or replace the Jewish people with a new covenant. So they're the Old Testament, they're the old covenant, and we're the new covenant.
Hence the white Jesus.
I mean, quite frankly, hello, yeah, that
Yeah.
probably plays a large part in it, seeing
Yeah.
yourself in somebody who's supposed to be a brown man,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
So, spiritual Israel is basically what the Jehovah's Witnesses would become. So, he needs to create a physical Israel in Palestine, where once the physical Israel comes to be, then the next part of God's plan can come, which is Jesus' return. And then the Jews have a second time to either accept or reject Jesus, right? This is their redemption song. This is their time to make everything right and now become part of the spiritual Israel with the 144,000 who are now the chosen people. It's pretty freaking mind-blowing how it all kind of comes together when you think about how C.T. Russell was preaching. Okay, so there was a date in the 1800s, right? Didn't he have a end of time in the late 1800s, but also as well as 1914, and
Yes.
then he
Yes.
passed away, right?
Because what wasn't it like 1874? I think they call that
I
the
think
big
so.
disappointment.
Yes, the big disappointment. That's exactly it. It was in the 1870s, so it was the big disappointment. And isn't that kind of where the Millerites and all those kind of guys were
That,
separating?
yes, that's when they split off from the Millerites, the Seventh Day
Right.
Adventists, then
Hmm.
the Bible students at the time.
Right. So now I'm like, no wonder he's thinking the end of the world is coming, because he's he's printing all this information. He is writing letters to the presidents. He is writing letters to powerful businessmen. He is doing everything he can with the power that he has, because he has a printing press, right? He invested all this money into a printing press. He uses, I mean, he's very smart with what he does. He uses the revolution of the printing press to basically push his message and to help spur getting, Jewish people to Palestine. And in that's why he's predicting the end of the world, because once we can get that state assumed, or once we can get them there, then the end of the world is going to come, and then Jesus is going to be back. Um, he talked. There's so many anti-Semitic tropes that he puts in there. He called them arrogant, prideful. He talked about their business dealings, their influence on financial sectors, other different secular sectors around the world. It's kind of like, oh my God, y'all. And the worst, oh my God, I have so much to say. And the worst part is he's so um, patronizing about it.
Yes.
To the Jewish people, he says things like, you have suffered too much. You have gone through too much. People have treated you wrong. They don't realize this is all part of the plan, and you've got the raw end of the deal. So he's trying to feed them stuff to feed their egos, to think that what he's saying, is good shit. Meanwhile, his intent to get them there is nothing but nefarious, because his goal is to get his Jeebus there to force you to comply or die. So he's not helping you.
Actually, Sam,
He's
that was Rutherford, not Russell, who
y-
wrote the letter to Hitler.
yeah, that was Rutherford. Rutherford was anti-Semitic as well. Like, they're both
Yes. They both were just as
pieces of
bad.
crap. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They were horrible people who built an entire religion based on taking the place of the Jewish people. Like, talk about appropriation. Like, you want
Yeah.
what somebody has. That's basically what it is you want what somebody has, but you don't respect it. You pretend like you respect it because you want something from it. And that's what he did. He was selling a lot of Jewish people on this idea of a Christian man truly, like, they were just like, there were some people who are so taken aback, like, oh wow, this Christian man truly like cares about us and sees our humanity. No.
Well, if you think about it, I remember, I can't remember, tell you how many times I heard from the platform how the witnesses compared us to modern day Israel and, this and
Yes.
that. So,
Yes.
that teaching even came into our time in the religion.
Mm-hmm. Um, and again, the imagery, of course, there's always going to be some kind of pyramid imagery, because that all ties into how he got these dates determined, etc. It's a very interesting read if y'all, it's long. Just because it's a bit like, it's like any Jehovah's Witness literature, it kind of repeats through the same things and boastful, etc. But to get into the mind of that guy and just see how shisty he is, to talk like that to people's faces when behind the scenes you want nothing but them to assimilate to your religion through force or however it may be.
Oh yeah.
All right, I know you have to, so I'm done with that, y'all. I still have more research to do. I'm going to keep researching. I think there's more I want to know, so I will keep this conversation going if you all would like, and if you have questions, let me know. Maybe I can find the answer. Da da da.
Okay, so moving along, then we
Move
got
along.
this story here that we talked about Serena Williams earlier this year getting baptized, and we all know what the implications of being baptized as a Jehovah's Witness are. You are now subject to any of the discipline from the elders, and you got to follow all the rules, except if you have money.
Mm.
And this is so true. So Serena Williams and her husband made a cameo in their daughter's Nutcracker play. And you can see the pictures here of them on stage, dancing around, getting into what this article calls the holiday spirit, with their daughter, and this is down in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. And, you could see Serena and her husband taking the lead in this. Now, if that was any of us while we were in the religion, any of us, what would be happening to us?
My parents got up and walked out on my concert.
Yeah, we would be pulled in the back room so fast,
Mm-hmm.
our heads would spin because the elders would be counseling us. Oh, you can't be dancing in a holiday play or letting your kids be in it, And then here's Serena Williams, a baptized Jehovah's Witness now, is dancing and participating in a holiday play with her children. And her
Shoot,
husband.
she could get in trouble just for having her kid do it, even if she didn't partake. And her
Exactly.
kid was doing that. That looked bad upon my dad, right? Because that's how the Jehovah's Witnesses work. You are a reflection of your child. Your child is a reflection of the parent. So if the kid is doing something that's against their regulations, then mom and dad gotta be held accountable for it.
Yep. So
Wow.
just more hypocrisy from the religion, because you're not going to, and even if elders did pull her into the back room over this, you're not going to hear about it because, again, those kangaroo courts are all held in secret. Nobody knows unless she gets reproved or counseled publicly. Then nobody's going to know if she even got reproved or counseled.
Right.
If it's a private reproof, they're not going to announce it from the platform. That's the only one they won't announce anything from. But if it's a public reproof or just fellowshipping or whatever, they'll announce it from the platform, and then maybe something will come out. And if we hear about it, of course, we're going to report on it. But as of now, this is all we got.
Yeah. It's likely
So,
she's going to be protected no matter what, even if she did get counseled. It's probably not a
oh,
real
yeah.
counseling.
I mean, you think about it. The witnesses need celebrities to be the face of the organization, basically, to make them look more normal. And
Yes.
if they do anything to her, then she's gonna go speak out about it publicly to the media and use her influential reach to talk about it. And they don't want that, which is most likely why nothing will happen to her at all.
And to be fair, this kind of confusion will likely help the Jehovah's Witnesses because Jehovah's Witnesses can say, see, it's not that big of a deal. Like sometimes, people do that kind of thing and we don't judge. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't believe
So,
it. You want to move on then?
yeah, let's go ahead and move on.
Okay, this one will be just super quick. I'm going to put out a trigger warning, y'all, because it's trigger warning. Here it comes. Okay, so a Congolese man set himself on fire because if you didn't realize, Congo, DR, like there's a lot of places right now on the continent of Africa, a lot of countries that are kind of going through silent genocides because we don't really talk about them, and I think it's a lot of racist reasons that we don't, and also because it's tied to how we get our electronics because they're mining coltan and I think cobalt. There's like a few different resources that are super just naturally there because it's a rich piece of land, and colonizers are going to colonize, and they're being basically put through like a similar trail of tears, kind of like what's happening to people in Gaza with like a trail of tears being like forced um, to move. And that's the same thing is happening here. So this man set himself on fire just to let people know, like, hey, we're dying over here. So if you can, like, make sure you're getting like recycled stuff or recycling your stuff so it can be reused so we can mitigate. And also we just need to stop allowing companies and governments, because this is actually tied to the United States and Israel. So we see a lot of these issues are because United States is using Israel as almost as their weapon, quite frankly.
You sure he's not just doing his own recreation of Burning Man?
Well, this is definitely a Burning Man situation. I mean, to
Yeah.
be suffering that much to want to set yourself on fire, I couldn't even fucking.
Yeah. I know I'm making fun of it, but like this is serious stuff. And this is when you got countries doing things like this to set people off this deeply to make this
Right.
kind of display,
Hmm.
something's bad and changes need to be made.
Yeah, it's real. Right. Like that's when like it's dire, it's desperate. So, we can mitigate harm. We really, really can. And it's like doing things like boycotting certain companies. That's what I'm doing. There's like a BDS if you want to follow it, a boycott, divest. I forget what the S is for. Sanction, maybe. If you're interested in that, I can always give you guys a list. But let's move along because I know you've got stuff to do. But thank you all for listening. This is important stuff to talk about.
Yeah. I was gonna. So we've been talking about the survey that's been going on in Japan, and with for their child abuse and everything. And so I was going to share some of the results of this survey. This was just released on the 20th, so on Monday, 2 days ago, in Tokyo. And as of now, we got a total of 560 people that have responded to this survey that they had. And it shows that 81% of respondents said that they had the no blood cards, for one thing. And
Yeah.
this is adults and children, and
Can
you
you?
got to think about it. Children are carrying these cards with them to school, and to wherever they go.
Right.
So, they're made to have these really martyrdom cards on them at all times.
Exactly. That would be a better terminology. It's a
Yes.
martyr card. It's a, you can let me die. You have permission to allow me to die for blood. They'll treat you up until that point. Obviously, they're going to the
Yeah.
doctors and nurses are going to do their jobs. But yeah,
Let's
they
see.
can.
Right here in the article says that the ministry's guidelines state that parents' refusal of medical treatments for children on religious grounds amounts to neglect, a form of abuse. So, right there in Japan's own laws, if a parent denies a blood transfusion for their child, they're neglecting and abusing their child.
And there you have it, right there
So,
in black and white for you.
you
It
know,
is abuse to do that to a child.
yes. And so the survey also showed 92% of respondents experienced whipping, 96% were banned from school activities, 93% were forced to limit their human relations, aka having friends outside of their religious bubble. Of course, many of the children experience physical and mental abuse, which leads to other problems later on in life. I also pointed out that people are also facing economic problems due to limitations of their education and job opportunities. So this is just a survey done in Japan.
Wow.
Imagine if this survey was done worldwide for
Right.
all Jehovah's
Globally, this
Witnesses.
could have a huge impact.
I mean, this is just insane because we can they did this with the Australian Royal Commission, and they really found that the results of that um, commission, the numbers panned out worldwide for it, and if they did that with this, I'm sure it would be about the same thing worldwide if you just expand those numbers
Extrapolate
out.
it out. Exactly.
Yes. So,
Right.
you know and like I said, this is just Japan, and they don't have the largest population of Jehovah's Witnesses there either in the world. So really, it's a big problem going around the world with this religion.
I saw some. I don't know if it was something you shared with me, but a child needed a surgery, but it was risky, so he'd need blood. So his parents didn't allow him to get the surgery. And it wasn't till it was like heart surgery, and it wasn't until the kid turned 18 that the doctor was like, well, now we can do it just on your permission, and finally got the operation. Didn't need the blood, by the way, anyhow, but he was going to do it if he needed to, and felt so much better. He was so sick all his life because of his heart condition, and his parents refused to help him. And so, like, we don't even realize like how many children are suffering simply because there's treatment that they need, but they have to be denied that treatment now.
Well, the witnesses will come out and say, we accept medical treatment. We don't deny medical treatment. Now, what they leave out is they deny blood transfusions. And that's just one of those word salad things they use to get around the fact that they deny blood transfusions, and lots of people have died as a result of that. But then, like what you were saying, some parents will take these situations like that and will take it to more extreme measures by denying their children actual treatment that is allowed by the religion's rules. So everybody will interpret things a little differently and will
And therein
take it
lies
to
the
extreme.
problem.
And that's exactly the problem right there. This is why these things need to be made public and be made known, because you have not everybody, you have people who take things to the extreme and allow their children unnecessary suffering because of their fanatical thinking.
Yep. Like that child could have had surgery, but was denied a good life, and then finally felt better, just like
Yep.
that. There's lots of things we don't think about because we just sometimes think of blood as being life-saving, but it's not. Oh, you know what I mean? Like an immediate in danger, but it doesn't
Right.
always come to light in that manner. It can be other small little problems as well.
Exactly. All right. Is that everything you have for us today?
Yes, that's all I have for today.
Okay, that's all I have for today as well. So we want to thank everybody for joining us this week. Give a special shout out to Dan D, who last week bought us some coffee. So we appreciate you, Dan D.
Did he again?
He did, yes.
Oh, I did. Dan, I told you you're going to get in trouble. You're going to get in trouble, Dan.
And what are you going to do to him to punish him?
I'm going to
I mean, you're the one saying it, so I'm
going to send the money back. I'm going to reverse transfer the money. You're going to get your money back and you're going to like it.
Anyways, I was going to say something, but I'll refrain.
Probably for the best, James. Probably for the best.
Probably.
So no matter what you guys do for tomorrow, I do not celebrate that holiday. I think it's SHIT, but I won't SHIT on your holidays. So I hope whatever you do, you enjoy yourself, and I hope it's spent with family. And yeah, I'll be with my family. So I got stuff to do here and get ready.
Yep, we will. We do a meal. We enjoy gathering together and just being able to not have to say, "Hey, we're only buying the turkey because it's on sale this week."
Right, right. We're just happening to cook it on the same. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
We might be getting together on that day. Doesn't mean it's just we all have off on that day. It's just
no. We would usually do it on Friday or Saturday, because it's not the day of.
Yeah. Yeah. Either way, we know what's happening. But anyhow, have a great week, y'all.
Yep. Wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Have a great week, and we will see you all next week. And also, just as a reminder, all the links for today's stories are in the description. So if you wanted to check out any of those, please do. And that's all I got for you. So again, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week, and apostate your way. And we will see you next week.
Listen, obey, be blessed.
All right.
Rionetics 316. I love you guys. Bye.
Bye.